Wait, what the motion? Wait a minute.
In our chat,
All right. As ASEAN, this house would accept Timor Leste as a member state, right? Right?
Correct.
All right. We'll start a debate. Let's invite the first speaker from opening government. Here.
Okay, setting my timer. Starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, in the status quo, Timor-Leste is a very, very poor country. There are a lot of poverty there. And Timor-Leste definitely deserve a help in the military section, economically, financially, and other amongst other things. ASEAN was also built to help each other. ASEAN was built because we shared the same history. We were being attacked by other country from other nations, from the Europeans, and Timor-Leste also shares that background. So Timor-Leste deserve to be in the ASEAN. They deserve to be a member state because they have the same background, right? And how will our acceptance in the as the member state will looks like? It will looks like the Timor-Leste getting help in the military section, because they are a small country and they deserve our protection. They are not able to protect themselves properly. And also, we will help to less the tension of Timor-Leste with other countries like Indonesia, for example. Indonesia and Timor-Leste has had a very tough background and they have a tough relationship. And also, we will give Timor-Leste more recognition globally so people can be aware of the living conditions in Timor-Leste, which is not good at all. People there are living in a very, very bad poverty. And lastly, we will listen and address their problem, because as of right now, Timor-Leste doesn't have anyone to help them. They don't have anyone to listen and address their problem. ASEAN will provide them, will address their problem with loyalty. We will address their problem without any without any much suspicious motivation, because like for example, no thank you, because for example, if they take help from USA will have like suspicious motivation to take their to exploit their natural resource and stuff. So moving on to my first argument, basically if we accept Timor-Leste in ASEAN, it's also an investment for ASEAN. Why? Because firstly, we can build infrastructure in Timor-Leste. And it's really good to build infrastructure in Timor-Leste, because as time goes on, population will continues to grow, right? It will grow to it will it will it will it will grow a lot, and we need more living space, and it's a really good idea to make apartments or architectures for living in Timor-Leste. It's not only good for the people in ASEAN, but it's also good for the Timor-Leste, because they will have a proper place to live. And also, by building infrastructure in Timor-Leste, they will have a better living condition, like they will have better roads, so it's better for them to provide for their family with better access to everywhere. And secondly, it's also cheaper for ports, for trading with Australia. Timor-Leste is very close with Australia, and maybe yes. Australia is also close with Indonesia. However, Timor-Leste will be cheaper. And Australia will see this as a very good thing, because they will, of course, want the cheaper one. And so we can invest on this port stuff, we can invest their shipping port and stuff. It will create more job desk for the Timor-Leste locals, so they can work in that section. They can provide for their family with provide for their family better, and it will help them to get out from poverty. Thirdly, again, it will create more jobs for them by investing, by investing in Timor-Leste, meaning more infrastructure. There will be a lot of more jobs open for them, and they will be able to provide for their family better. They can work jobs that is not as brutal right now, because like when you're in poverty, you have to do extreme jobs like scavenging and stuff, and also you might get stuck in like modern slavery. You're being used by the business owner there, because again, because Timor-Leste is like very uneducated, right? So they don't know what they are agreeing on when they are signing up for a job. So it's important for ASEAN to intervene. It's important for ASEAN to create more jobs for them so that they won't be used by the evil business owner in Timor-Leste. And fourthly, it's because, Timor-Leste has a lot of natural resources, so they can trade that with ASEAN, with other ASEAN countries like Singapore. They can provide natural resources, and as a feedback, Singapore can give like education to them. They can give technology for them so that they won't have to deal with generational poverty. They are able to break the chain of generational poverty with education that is being provided by Singapore. Moving on to my second argument, basically helping Timor-Leste, basically accepting Timor-Leste into ASEAN is basic human right? Because, well, the Timor-Leste locals they deserve the right of living a peaceful life without the worry of poverty, without the worry of getting attacked by Indonesia or other country, without the worry of like dying. No, thank you. And the thing is, well, they deserve help from ASEAN because they have a very disadvantageous history. Like, firstly, Indonesia takes their stuff. It's in the They take their stuff. They attack Timor-Leste and they kill people there. So, and everyone also does that in past by the Europeans and stuff, and also Indonesia. So they deserve to get help. We deserve to help them for what we have done, and ASEAN should like help them in that department. And also, it's so that and with this basic human right thing, ASEAN will also get more recognition. So it will be very beneficial for ASEAN, because with more recognition, there will be more supports from the others, right? So what we offer to help the poverty that is happening right now in Timor-Leste. We are offering a solution to help those in needs, and we are standing on the basic human rights. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the first speaker from the opening government. Let's move to this first speaker from the opening oppositions. Here.
Anwar, your turn.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. All right. I'm starting in 3, 2, 1. Okay. As a member of the opposition, we would hold on, right. Sorry. What?
Oh, hi, you got an issue?
Hold on, sorry. I'm just talking to my I'm talking to my mom.
Okay.
I'm back. All right, sorry. All right, I'm starting in 3, 2, 1. As a member of the opposition, we humbly disagree with the government motion, with the motion, since right. Since Timor Leste membership in ASEAN should is opposed due to several key reasons. The first reason is geographical isolation, which Timor Leste remote location makes it logistically challenging to integrate into ASEAN's activity. The second reason is the economy, which Timor Leste underdeveloped economy contracts with the more established economies of ASEAN membership status. Problem potentially hindering economic cooperation. The third reason is political stability. Timor-Leste has a history of a political instability, which could disrupt ASEAN pursuit of stability and harmony. The fourth reason is cultural and historical differences. Timor-Leste unique culture and history differ from Asian nation, potentially complicating collaboration. The fifth reason is limited resources. As I said before, the inclusion of Timor-Leste could strain Asian resources and decision-making capacity. Okay, so in conclusion, while Timor-Leste is a unique and culturally rich nation, it currently faces significant challenges in terms of geography, economy, and politics, and also cultural differences that makes it unsuitable for ASEAN membership at this time. ASEAN should prioritize the cohesion and stability of its existing member state before considering further expansion. That's all from me. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for the first speaker from the opening positions. You spent 3 minutes and 5 seconds. Let's move to the second speaker for the opening government. Wait a minute, there's a comment. Oh, okay. All right, let's invite the second speaker from opening government. Here.
Thank you. I will start my argument in 3, 2, 1. Firstly, my first argument. Indonesia was colonized by the Dutch and the small island was conquered by the Portuguese. It is now Timor-Leste. It is said that everything that has been colonized by the Dutch must be handed over to Indonesia, a small exception being Timor-Leste, which was under the influence of Portugal. After their independence, it was recognized by the UN and be accepted to ASEAN as a country member. What the opposition said, firstly, geographically challenging for any activities, which is true, but we could invest in Timor-Leste to be able to strengthen up their economy with help with ASEAN and Indonesia and other countries with challenging activities, meaning like the first opening of the opening government said that it could open up ports, even though we already have Bali and other stuff. We could open up this country port, which also connects to the second argument of it being a human right to live in a stable economy. The second reason the opposition is economy. Again, like what I said before, It is a human right, and the main goal of ASEAN is to connect the Southeast Asian nations and help them with each problems with economics or military and others. The third reason, cultural and historical differences, which is true, but that does not mean that it cannot be in ASEAN. Cultural and historical differences. Thank you. Yeah, cultural and historical differences. It makes ASEAN what it is, with Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Brunei, and others. Political instability. The fourth one, political instability. As the first opening government said, with political instability, we could lessen the tension between Timor Leste and Indonesia by helping them. By the first step with joining ASEAN, they will get help and less tension will be there. That would be all. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the second speaker from the opening government. Now let's move to the second speaker from opening oppositions. Here.
Okay, thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes, very clear.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm gonna start my argument in 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much for opportunity in this debate. And I'm a second speaker as opening opposition. And based on the motion, I would say that Timor Leste hasn't been a part of ASEAN or Southeast organization for a reason. And because of the reason, we think the wise decision is make their own country stable first. There are a couple reasons according to my first opening opposition argument. There's a couple reasons why the Timor Leste hasn't been a part of ASEAN. And if it's not, and the main reason why Timor Leste hasn't been a part of Southeast organization, it's because they didn't complete the category or indicator of the ASEAN itself. So if we insist to make the Timor Leste join the Southeast organization or ASEAN, it's just gonna put a burden to another country, and not good or false according to ASEAN's constitution for sure. And talk about the investment that the first opening government said to the ASEAN provided by Timor Leste. And we can make them, you can make them any infrastructure or some resources that are provided by another country like a Singapore, but the data said that Singapore is rejected Timor Leste to be a part of ASEAN as well. So I think Singapore also see that this country is not be able to being a part of ASEAN yet. And if we say that we can make investment to the Timor Leste and make offering help to Timor Leste, that provided by ASEAN, I think what about those investment has to compromise other country? As we know, each country have their own problem, and if the Timor Leste is really not it is really not stable to be being a part of ASEAN, I think is not a good reason to take Timor Leste for being a part of ASEAN for these days yet. So we can just monitoring or even follow up the Timor Leste first. We can just easily take them to be a part of ASEAN. I think that's the argument that I can say to you as a second opening up a session. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you for the second speaker from the opening oppositions. That's the end of the opening benches. Let's move to the half closing benches for the first speaker from closing government. Here.
Okay, am I audible for you? Hello?
Yes, you are, and very clear.
Okay. I would like to start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, since from the opening opposition, they only have two main points about these motions today, but it's not quite enough to reject the Timor Leste to enter to the ASEAN itself. First is political instability, but they don't talk about they don't give us the example about the political instability that happened in the Timor Leste itself. For example, the case of the presidents of the Timor Leste itself, or the political issue that happened in Timor Leste itself. But here, we as the government, we see that there's no problems about the political instability in Timor Leste. They are independent country. That's enough for us to accept them as the member of the ASEAN itself. Second, going to the second rebuttal is about the complicated location and also demographic of the Timor Leste itself. You can use the map itself. The Timor Leste is near from the Indonesia, is near from the other Asian country. That's enough to us to see the strategic location of the Timor Leste itself as the member of the ASEAN itself. That's quite enough to accept them as the member of the ASEAN itself. Now I'm going to giving you an analogy. A company who has a strong in here, a big company with 10 member is better than one company who has 5 members that even the 5 members is rich, even the 5 member who has the more stability of that, but 10 members is more better than 5 members. That see what happened in the United Nations. United Nations has about 109 members, and Unions has 27 members, and Asian only has 12 members of Asian. We totally accept if the Timor Leste want join to the ASEAN, because it will bring more benefit than its harm itself. Because of what? Because no track of the criminal records that treats the ASEAN to reject Timor Leste itself. For example, the security issues in Timor Leste is full of the terrorists, full of the bombing, full of the instability in the world itself. There's no happen in the Timor Leste. Timor Leste just only has one current issue, such as education, for in education, for in economic. That's the moral obligation of the member of the ASEAN to fix it together. That's why. Now I'm going to my point of my point stance. First is ASEAN is a huge should be a huge organization in the world. Because of what? Because the ASEAN is a very lowest organization, is lower than Europe nation, is lower than United Nations itself. That's why the reason to accept the Timor Leste is giving or also bring more benefit to us to do. Talking about the moral obligation, we know that in the history of the ASEAN, we with that build this organization, Asian organization, want to help each other, want to keep peace, want to keep national to keep the national security issues together. Why? But with the just only 11 members, that's not enough to us, to Asian, to grow or to being bigger than the other organization, because it's not enough to us to doing that. And then how about the moral obligation itself? Moral obligation is the ASEAN should be protect each member of ASEAN is stable in the economic, stable in the politics, stable in the security itself. That's why the ASEAN should play their big duty in here to help the Timor Leste to join as a part of member of ASEAN. Now going to the requirement of the ASEAN, the requirement of the ASEAN, the member can join to the ASEAN is very simple. One is the requirement is the country should be independent. Second is the member of Asia will accept them, and the third is the member who want to join should do a contract assignment to follow up the rules and also the agreement that create in ASEAN. That's very simple. Why we have to reject Timor Leste, since because they don't fulfill the suspicious things, such as it will be broke the Asian country. There is no proof that opposition bring to us. Now going to the interest of the ASEAN itself is the purpose of this organization is to large this organization, to keep strong this organization better than for example the European Union and also the United Nations or something like that. If we have a 12 member with the Timor Leste we will be strong than before. Because of what? Because amount of the number will having us, for example, if the foreign country attack us, the 12 member will be protect each other. That's mean that we are more strong than before. And then going to the another argument is to the why we create the ASEAN, because we want to build a strong relationship between each Asian country, such as for example Indonesia with Malaysia, Malaysia with Singapore, Singapore with Thailand, etc. With this relationship, we will get benefits, such as for example we can do with that business contract, such as trading, such as export of the mineral resource that will be help to solve. For example, if Indonesia has lack of the mineral mining, such as the lack of the uranium that they can find with the other countries, such as like that, to help and also to keep the national security issue itself. And then the third point is the third point is Timor Leste has a potential country. The Timor Leste has a natural mineral resource that didn't match well with this country. The ASEAN will look this as their opportunity to do a collaboration to manage it, to raise the mineral resource in the Timor Leste, to sell it into the world. That will help the economic of the Timor Leste. That will help the contract that happen in between the country itself, and also that will help to fund the ASEAN itself that's coming from it. Now I would like to talk to you about the mechanism. The mechanism in here is because the Timor Leste has fulfilled. Habis kan? Okay. I close my case.
All right, thank you for the first speaker from the closing government. You spent time 8 minutes and 12 seconds. Let's move to the first speaker from the closing opposition. Here.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. For the POI, just let in the chat box. Gender preference is a him, and oh wait, the timer. Start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Why accept other countries if there is not sweat with Asian interests or could even endanger ASEAN stability as an organization in status quo? Third contribution of the speech. First, I think accepting Timor Leste could trigger intervention from the countries outside ASEAN, which could influence regional dynamic and shift the balance of the power. Second, ASEAN members who have stronger ties with Timor Leste may have greater influence in terms of determining policies and handling issues related to the Timor Leste within ASEAN. This can create inequality in decision making. But third of all, influence from countries outside ASEAN, such as China or other countries, they may be interested in Timor Leste, could influence ASEAN's decision. Then what do you mean Timor Leste is not have a problem issues? Before going into our argument, there is a rebuttal from the government speech. First, the main premise in government is Timor-Leste has a lot of resources and they are a weak country and need to be helped and it's about human rights, etc., etc. Exactly, this is the biggest problem. Realize Timor-Leste has a weak economy and highly dependent on natural resources, especially petroleum. Its membership could add pressure to ASEAN existing economic structure and create an imbalance. Timor-Leste membership could affect the economic and political balance with ASEAN. These countries can play a role in economic and trade decision-making, which can influence power dynamic within the organization. Third layer of analysis. First, Timor-Leste relies primarily on oil export for its income. This creates economic risks due to uncontrolled fluctuation in world oil price. If oil price falls sharply, this could disrupt Timor-Leste's economic stability. Meanwhile, ASEAN has a diverse economic structure with member countries having different economic strengths. Accepting the Timor-Leste, which has a weak economy, could create an imbalance in Asian economic dynamics. Second, Timor-Leste needs to reduce its dependence on petroleum and diversity its economic. This requires large investment in other sectors such as agriculture, industry, and tourism. Timor-Leste may need a significant financial and technical support from Asian countries to strengthen its economic. This could increase the burden of Asian members who already have a large-scale development commitment. Timor-Leste membership could trigger competition between Asian countries to access valuable natural resources in the Timor-Leste, Timor Sea, and etc. This can create a tension and require diplomatic efforts to prevent a conflict. But third of all, Asian countries may need to adjust their economic policies to accommodate Timor-Leste and minimize potential economic imbalance. This requires cooperation in policies and regulatory development. But Timor-Leste also has a potential to make economic contribution to ASEAN through its natural resources. However, there needs to be wise cooperation in managing this resource to ensure mutual benefit and whatnot. I think this is enough for destroy all of their speech or of government speech. Move to our burden. We will prove in CO why Timor-Leste accepting is not that good for ASEAN interests. First layer. Timor-Leste bilateral relation with several ASEAN members are not yet strong enough. Its membership could give a rise to complex bilateral conflict among Asian countries that have a diverse relation with the Timor-Leste. Two level of analysis. First, Asian countries have diverse bilateral relation with Timor-Leste. For example, Indonesian relation with Timor-Leste reflect a complicated history of conflict during the occupation. Meanwhile, countries like Malaysia or Singapore might have a natural relation. This history of conflict between Timor-Leste and Indonesia can create tension among ASEAN members. Accepting Timor-Leste as a member may raise questions about the extent to which ASEAN can address this potential historical conflict within the organization context. Second, Timor-Leste membership could introduce complex diplomatic dynamic. ASEAN countries need to coordinate their approach toward the Timor-Leste so as not to trigger tension or conflict. Timor-Leste as membership can influence the decision and attitudes taken by ASEAN as an organization. Member states may seek to influence ASEAN policies and its relation with Timor-Leste. Second layer, accepting Timor-Leste as a member of ASEAN could be a complex problem for ASEAN stability. First, ASEAN has success to maintaining its image as a custodian of regional stability for 10 decades. This was achieved through a deliberative and diplomatic approach that has success in resolving conflict in the region, such as a conflict in Cambodia and peace negotiation in Aceh, Indonesia, and etc. But the accepting of Timor-Leste, a country with a record of political and economic instability, may raise questions about its impact and regional dynamic. Internal conflict or its vulnerability to external disturbance can be considered a threat to the stability that ASEAN has maintained so as well in the decades. Second, ASEAN is concerned that by accepting countries that have not achieved educate stability, this could trigger awakening of ASEAN position in maintaining regional stability. This may cause other members countries to doubt ASEAN ability and to maintain stability in the future. This sensitive border issues between Timor-Leste and Indonesia could be a source of potential instability. Accepting Timor-Leste as a member of ASEAN might trigger rivalries and tension that could threaten a regional stability. But of all, Timor-Leste bilateral relation with different Asian countries may accepting Timor-Leste may change the dynamic of this relation among the Asian countries, as I say, and whatnot. Timor-Leste is a country that relies heavily on oil revenues and which can be highly violation and whatnot in the status quo. But what's the tipping point of these issues? Exactly, accepting that Timor-Leste is not yet stable could affect ASEAN in role in resolving a regional conflict. This will challenge ASEAN to ability to act as mediator on a facilitator on conflict in the region. But last layer, I think Timor-Leste does not meet a requirements necessary to become a member of ASEAN. This extension of the opening say recently. First, democracy is the one of important pillars of ASEAN, and members are expected to adhere to democratic principle. But Timor-Leste has experienced several political challenges on its journey, and toward the sustainability political stability after the independence of the Indonesia. The acceptance of Timor-Leste as a member of ASEAN before achieving a strong political issues to that country could raise serious questions about the consistency of democratic principle within ASEAN in the status quo as an organization and whatnot. Proud to see. Thank you.
Thank you for the first speaker from the closing oppositions. Let's move to the very last speaker from the government benches. The second speaker from closing government. Here.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, give me 20 seconds to prepare my paper and then my timer. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Judges, 3 contributions that I will bring to this debate. First, rebuttal. The second, extension. And the third is comparison toward CO and OO. Okay, first, rebuttal. She already said that what is ASEAN interest, and then except the membership of Timor-Leste will make the trigger for another country to compete with the ASEAN, for example. But no, see in the status quo that there's no country with the Timor Leste, right? See see in the status quo that the Timor Leste is just alone, and then there's no country support Timor Leste, for example. And then the second CEO said that Timor Leste has a problem issue that for example, they are poverty, they don't have stability, diplomacy, etc., etc. But see in the status quo, yes, all the banks agree that Timor Leste has poor and the poverty. But see, to make as ASEAN is organization for the ASEAN country, right? So better than you see just Timor Leste become bad every day. You have the moral obligation. Like my first speaker already tell you that we are in the one mainland, and then we have to help each other, right? And then you said that it will make imbalance in ASEAN because they have a dynamic political and economic fluctuation. But see in the status quo, they have many resources, for example, and then why their resources can fulfill their needs, because first they don't have enough technology, and the second they don't have enough human resources, for example. So ASEAN come as a helper for Timor Leste, and then this will impact ASEAN for in the future, and then it will make ASEAN better in the future, because what they help Timor Leste, right? And then Timor Leste will no thank you, and then Timor Leste will always have a mindset that they help you. So I have to help ASEAN also. And then you said that there is a diverse economic for Timor Leste and another ASEAN countries. See, you said that we have the Timor Leste have diverse economic. That's why we have to accept them to make their economic stability, and then we can help each other, for example. And then you said that there is trigger competition between ASEAN and other countries. Right. So this is will not gonna happen, because what there is no bad track record for crime for Timor Leste, for example. There is no like Vanuatu want to go claim that Papua is the part of Vanuatu, right? So there is no the crime that Timor Leste make until this day. And then you said that the bilateral is not enough. The bilateral relationship, the relationship between Timor Leste and another ASEAN country is not enough. But see, if the relation is not enough, why just Singapore that doesn't accept Timor Leste in the status quo, right? Just Singapore, just one country from 10 countries. See that you said that there is traumatized between Indonesia and Timor Leste, but see, Indonesia never decline Timor Leste to go to Timor Leste to go to ASEAN, right? So this is your case is already debunk from this case, because you always say that there is historical between Indonesia and Timor Leste, but no thank you, but we see that this is not gonna happen in the end of the day. And then okay, my extension, my first speaker already tell you why this is better for us, because first they have enough resources, but they don't have enough technology. For example, Singapore, they have enough technology, but they don't have enough researchers to make it right. So with this we can collaborate each other and then make a better world, for example, for ASEAN, for example. And next, rebel toward OO said this is very challenging, economic under poverty and then political stability. And then OO said that there is cultural difference from Timor Leste and then ASEAN country. We say not, because what? Because Timor Leste is part of ASEAN, right? See that Timor Leste is near from Indonesia. Even they have been part of for Indonesia, for example. So there's no cultural difference here. And then you said that there is limited resources. No, we don't say that they have limited resources, but we say that they have limited technology to make it better. Okay, POI. Okay, POI from CO.
Okay. Timor-Leste suffers because its own mistakes. Membership of ASEAN could add pressure to ASEAN existing economic structure and create an imbalance. Answer.
Okay, we agree that we have imbalance here, but why why this imbalance we have to solve at the end of the day. We can't just say that Timor Leste is imbalance in economic and etc. But you don't have you don't solve the problem for this imbalance. We come as CG to solve this problem, to help them to make their economy stable, and for at the end of the day this is gonna beneficial for us and for Timor Leste, for example. Okay, move to OG. Why we are better than OG? Okay, OG always talk about the tension between the tension and tough background between Indonesia and Timor Leste, for example. But no, it's not, because what? Because Indonesia never have a problem with Timor Leste. After after Timor Leste not being a part of Indonesia anymore, Indonesia never have a problem from Timor Leste, right? And then you said that in investment structure, you said that we will be different with other country. We don't want to take any beneficial from Timor Leste. But see, if you see that you will build an apartment, and then the people will move to the Timor Leste, for example. This is one you are already backlashing your idea, for example. And then you said that this is create more jobs, but you never say the mechanism. So how this will go in? So I will explain to you why this is can create more jobs in Timor Leste. First, because you already have enough technology in your status quo, and then you already have jobs, for example, a job field. So it's will create more jobs, and then the Timor Leste and both Timor Leste and ASEAN will be stable. Thank you for to propose.
All right, thank you for the second speaker from the closing government. Let's invite the second speaker from the closing oppositions to close the debate today.
Hello, greetings everyone. I object to Timor-Leste joining ASEAN. As we all know, ASEAN is a political economic union consisting of 10 countries, consisting of course, Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, Brunei Darussalam, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and the Philippines. Rebuttal, I think that if they join ASEAN, they will just bring ASEAN down, because as we all know, ASEAN is consisting of developing countries. Timor-Leste is also a developing country, but as we all know, Timor-Leste itself is not stable. It has too many internal problems, ranging from political problems, economic problems, and there are a lot of human rights issues that arose in Timor-Leste, such as credible reports of arbitrary killings, government corruptions, lack of investigation and accountability for gender-based violence against people with disabilities, and the worst forms of child labor. Now, from the things that I have stated, I also think that if they were to join ASEAN, it will bring forth harm and detrimental towards ASEAN. The country isn't even stable, to the point where it cannot even function on itself. It may bring not just harm, but also bring down ASEAN, and might just slow the growth rate of ASEAN. If we see it from the government, it does not function well, and Timor-Leste also does have a bad external relationship with some Asian countries. So if they join ASEAN, it might bring animosity with other countries, that it may have caused conflicts with other countries as well. And I would also like to add, and for those who might think that reviving that country or building that country is a good idea, I also want to make that country better for its people. As a person as well, think that, but doing such things is too difficult. If we see it on the angle of its education, its people, or most of its people, are mostly uneducated. And if we see it on the angle of its economic function, it is very bad and underdeveloped. And its human rights and political issues always rise because of all the other factors, such as the country's limited resources, underdeveloped education for its people, that caused a low economic movement for Timor-Leste. Unfortunately, as we all know, there's a lot of political fights and issues For its country itself, Timor-Leste might not exist as Timor-Leste anymore. In the near future, it might not exist because of all the issues. So to summarize, if Timor-Leste join ASEAN, it will just bring harm, trouble, conflict, as well as tension towards the countries of ASEAN. And it may also bring damage economic for ASEAN as well. And if Timor-Leste join ASEAN, it will harm and will not bring any benefits to ASEAN. Now, with all that, I have rest my case. Thank you for this chance.
All right, thank you for the last speaker from the closing oppositions. That's the end of the debate. Give me like some minutes to arrange my notes. Then after that, we will go to the general and also like the personal feedback.
Hi everyone.
Hello. Oh my God, guys, look, I'm very sorry if my speech was bad. This was, me being the first speaker was like really unplanned. And I've never been the prime minister. So like, I'm sorry, guys, if I was bad.
Man, I mean, my speech was I don't know, kind of lost most of my ideas. I don't know what happened. This is actually my first time joining like a debating competition, and
Oh,
yeah, and it's been 3 days. It's just like 3 days. I'm working on it, training on it. Just like my first time, and I don't know how things really goes. That's why I was kind of lost. And when I heard you guys, I was like, all right, all right, nope. That's why.
Sorry for the aggressive POI.
dude, I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
I would like to also apologize if my speech was wrong and if I said some wrong information. This is also my first time sparring.
It's alright. I also have ever joined on debate 18 years ago, and this is the beginning of me.
Ajarin dong sepuh. Aku kan masih pemula. Gimana sih soundnya?
Enggak, itu si Safa tuh juga keren banget ya.
Yeah, everyone here is like very good. Okay. Oh my God.
I'm not included.
No, we all did our best.
Yes, we all.
I mean, I kind of got nervous. That's why.
I was also nervous because like, dude.
Oh, you did very well actually. I mean,
Oh my God. I was not planning on being the first speaker. I know. Like,
that's
nah. I prefer rebutting, but
I don't expect this motion will be raised like this. Asians.
dude, like I hate this motion so much. Why? Because I have no knowledge at all about, international affairs and politics and stuff.
bro. Like, I don't even know where Timor Leste is. Like, I thought
The
it's part
hell?
of Indonesia.
What? Okay.
I swear, man.
I'm sorry.
Bro, I also don't know where it's located.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was like,
The hell, Brandon?
I was asking my 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 friend here is like,
Bruh.
is it part of Indonesia or what?
I didn't
my
even
God,
know
Brand.
that Timor Leste was actually that collapsed. I was so sure it was gonna collapse any moment.
Oh my God.
Oh, hi everyone. Yeah, I feel like I'm done with my notes. But before that, I want to ask like several questions because I heard you guys don't know about Timor Leste and etc. Are you guys all of you are Indonesian?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, we're all
I am
Indonesian.
I am
Yes.
Indonesian as well.
I am half Middle Eastern.
All right.
Brandon is halfway.
All right. Hi, Adila speaking here. And again, I wanna first I will make like the three part on this oral education, yeah, something like that. First of all, about the general command. Second of all, about the rank, and the third, the reason behind of the rank. First, let's talking about the motions and the general command. I feel like whenever into the motions, you have to highlight everything in the motions that very urgent to talk about. And I feel like here there are three things. Number one is Asian, number two is Timor Leste, and the third one is the member state. I feel like everyone already mentioned and talking a lot about Asians, about Timor Leste, and also like the member state. But I don't think like all of you already give the enough characterizations on how you're gonna addressing Asian and Timor Leste and also like the member state. But before that, yes, this is very IR motion, which is like international relations. Why I put this? Because I feel like a lot of debaters talking about economic, about a politics, and also education and stuff like that, and you guys are familiar with that. And a lot of debaters sometimes they're really good, but whenever it comes to the law and international relations, it's very like lacking. So that is why like I want to addressing this motion, because I feel like yeah, this is like very good motion. At the same time, I are always coming in like in the big event, especially in the competition. So I hope like this is being a new highlight for you to train in the exercise, so next time you can improve a lot. Second of all, I feel like it's really important to talk about IR, because like it's all about fact. I feel like when you're talking about educations or family or relationship or love or anything that way, you can having assumptions or opinion that you can elaborate and improve. Then, damn, it's gonna be like okay, educator can accept your point. But when you're talking about certain things like economic or law or especially about IR, you have to talk about fact. And when it's into the fact, you have to read a lot. You have to understand a lot of things. It is like very fine if you sometimes like, oh, I'm so confused, what does this mean, what about Timor Leste and ASEAN? Well, I feel that way when I was debater as well. But something that I learned after that, I will learn like more things. Something that I highlight in IR and such kind of motion is about Asians, it's about the EU, it's about American country, and about China, this kind of uh giant countries, and also like the community and organizations. Because like when you already know about this and you're gonna see like a lot of relation and collaborations, and after that you're gonna be more familiar with that. So it's really good to starting for me, rather than imagine you're gonna get this motion in the competition, so it's gonna be worse. So yeah, and that's the thing. And second of all, I feel like yeah, third thing that I have to what to say, yeah, discussing about this motion is number one is about the ASEAN interest. I feel like when you're talking about Asian interest, people are like, okay, this is the responsibility of Asian, this is Asian. But at the very first note of the debaters here addressing what actually the interest of Asian itself is, that Asian being that organization is very inclusive or being exclusive, because they said it is like the organizations, I mean like the Association of Southeast Asians, means that the Southeast Asian country, the whole Southeast Asian country have to be like provided or being the member of this, right? That the first thing you have to addressing. Or second, let's not talking about the name, but talking about the purpose. The purpose is to showing the economic growth and etc. Yes, you mentioned a lot about economic and culture and etc. But basically, in the fact that Asian have the very three main purpose, and one of it about the economic growth. Even if it is Southeast Asian, doesn't mean like every country could join, because like again, you have to maintain about the purpose of Asian. And when you're talking about the purpose of Asian, then the Timor Leste itself maybe couldn't go further for the Asian and etc. But before that, am I speaking too fast, or it's okay?
Nope, that is okay.
No.
I think everything is clear.
Yep.
No,
Okay.
clear.
Oh yeah, thank you. And second of all, when you want to addressing Timor Leste interest, I feel like we already understand, like you guys already bringing, oh, Timor Leste is very poor, Timor Leste is need help and etc. But what actually the Timor Leste interest itself? Because like they're already applying for being the ASEAN member for the long term. If you're talking like okay, they need the help, they need collaborations, well, they actually already got it. They have massive collaborations and also like partnership with a lot of country and nation, also like with Australia, with China. So why then joining with Asian is really important and is very urgent? Because in the debate, you're not just talking about okay, this is important, but it also like why then it is very urgent gitu. And also like about the Timor Leste interest, is that like something that could get the beneficial about the Asian, but also like solving the problem at the same time gitu. Jadi it's not using Indonesians. Yeah. But yeah, since you guys are all nation, but it's okay. Third of all, about the member state, I feel like this is something that everyone literally forgot the member state, because there's a lot of cases or being status in Asian. There are like Asian plus 3 when it's like ASEAN collaboration with Japan, China, and Korea, and also like they call it observer, and also like they are not full member state and etc. So there are a lot of things. Then why then being an observer for Timor Leste is not enough? Why they have to be a member state? What is the obligation being a member state? What is the how they're gonna propose things, and how what the benefit they're gonna get in member state, and how that's gonna be changed in terms of all of this thing. So yeah, like I said, that it's really nice for you to improve about an IR motion. You can learn further. So about the rank, let's move to the rank. So the fourth goes to the opening oppositions, the third goes to opening government, the second goes to the closing government, and the first goes to closing oppositions. The reason behind that, well, first of all, I feel like why the opening what is it, opening oppositions couldn't go upper to the closing government. I'm so bad. Closing government. So first of all, I feel like you lack to fulfilling what actually happened in this debate, because like what happened to the very first speaker from the PM, they're not fulfilling the responsibility to addressing Asian Timor Leste members and so on and so forth, which is like it's already less credit on their side of the house. But it should be like you can addressing more to make your senses like way more better. That gonna be good, because like even if they are lacking on making this kind of state up, at least they have a lot of elaborations and also like argumentations on their answering why then they have to help the Timor Leste itself and how it's going to be beneficial. But the side of the house, I feel like it's very lacking when you're talking about such kind of things. Like for example, you're talking about your stances to basically in geographical thing, and also like yeah, you're talking about the geographical thing, and also like the culture and historical differences. Then why then it is like very urgent for you to bring in this kind of thing, because you just already mentioned, but I don't think like the sense of making this kind of Timor Leste to not be a member is gonna be acceptable. But I really like when you mentioned about economic political instability, limited resources, which is like this is something that really same with what your closing oppositions bring. But unfortunately, because you couldn't go upper, because like you're not elaborating more, it's just like I can say like one liner, which is like it's actually like really really good point, but unfortunately you can go further than that. And also like it means that you're not answering the main question in the debate, why then Timor Leste should not be a part of should not be a part of Asian. Then you're not answering then why then it is actually like it's only beneficial, or it is like already progressive in status quo. It is enough for Timor Leste for being an observer, and it's like gonna be beneficial for them just staying in the status quo. I feel like you're not answering about that. Meanwhile, in closing, oh no. I mean like the third is opening government, not the closing government. And yeah, meanwhile at the same time, the opening government, at least they already mentioning about a lot of things and answering why then Timor Leste has to join the ASEAN member itself. They're answering a lot of things, and they already started from the background. All right, we see that the background is they are very poor, that's why they need help. That is why like this is the responsibility of Asian to help, because since they are a community to provide all of the countries, means that they already make this kind of thing. Then all right, this is the right of Timor Leste, and also like this is the responsibility of Asian, which they already more having like more elaborations. And they're talking about investment, they're talking about natural resources, they're talking about how this is going to be beneficial in terms of the human rights itself could be imbued, and also like to be improved a lot, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's really like they already mentioning and highlighting a lot of things in this way. But yeah, that is why like opening government go upper than opening oppositions. Why didn't opening government couldn't go upper than closing government? Well, first thing first, I feel like it's already nice because like you guys try to make a difference, because like the opening government already creating a lot of things compared to the compared to opening oppositions. But the thing is, because the closing government, number one, they could give like better respond and engagement towards another team, which means that the BP is not all about your stances but also like about your contributions. If you're debating in AP, it's gonna be like, okay, which sentence is gonna be long last till the end. But it's since you're debating about in BP, it means like you have like the biggest contributions towards your engagement to another team, how you debunk and rebuttal their arguments, and also like, make your clear stances. So as simple as closing government have this kind of thing, they are better in making their stances and give the contributions. So what the contributions? First of all, the contribution of CG, they basically like talking about the political stability. There is no like proven that basically this is something that really matter. And also like they're talking about the complicated demography and so on and so forth, bringing by the opening oppositions, then that be tackled down by opening government. And also like they're talking about the harm and the benefit at the same place, which is like it's not getting from the OG. So in OG you're only talking that why then it is just urgent, but in closing government, they are not just answering why then it is urgent, but they answering also why it's going to be beneficial and why it's harmful if they are not joined to the ASEAN member itself. And wait a minute. All right, I will move to the feedback on the next, but right now just putting the rank. And also like after that, why then the what is it? The closing government couldn't upper go to the closing oppositions. As simple as basically, I feel like the closing opposition is the one who have the most complete completing the speaking roles, and also like answering the questions, and also like putting their responsibility. Even if I heard at very last like you lacking of like comparison and weighing, because like you are the closing means that in the web you have to like giving like more engagements and how you're gonna comparison make the weighing towards another team. But I feel like it's fine because in the very first you already characterize a lot of things and you give the multi-layer. So the moment like the closing government rebuttal a lot of things, but I feel like it's not really debunk your argumentations because you already make a lot of structure, and also like it's a lot of more multi-layer argumentations, and also the reasons. And I feel like your analogy is way more understandable and relate with the conditions, which is you're talking about in economical way, and also like the action itself, and also like like in country level analysis, and how the analysis goes into the closing government just necessary about their quantity. Like for example, just because like we have like 12 member and so on, we have to involve the Timor Leste, but you're not answering that why then just because we have a lot of member then you're going to be improve a nation, or you're going to improve as a country. But in the side of the house they say that basically it's about the quality, which means that the Timor Leste itself already gained a lot of benefit, and we want to make them stay there, because like when they want to join there are a lot of harmful, which like they elaborate more in terms of a lot of thing, economic and political and stability, which is like this is the purpose of the Asian. So yeah, maybe like you guys already can see then why then you couldn't upper, or you are upper from another team. What about the feedback from OG? I feel like the feedback here as the first speaker is the structure and urgency, not just the importance. I feel like I heard a lot of debaters when they are in the world debate championship, and they don't even need about the structure. They're just like speaking randomly, and just they don't even think maybe after this on their speech. But I feel like when the people use this kind of random structure, don't even use the structure, it is like for them who already being an expert. But I feel like when you want to make a good debate at our some first years, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's really nice like if we concern about our structure, which is like help us to gonna improve and fulfilling our speaking role. Because like I feel a lot of missing in OG, like for example the what is it the characterizations and how you're gonna frame the debate, what actually the problem. Just because like Timor Leste has the poor and they are deserve to be helped, is that the problem that they have to solve? And this is the responsibility of the Asian. Maybe you can make like more problem, like for example it is about the discriminations, for example, because not massive, lots of majority of the Asian countries already accept the Timor Leste and want to help them. So why then Singapore could get that kind of big power, because you couldn't go upper for the Timor Leste going to Asian. And you can elaborate more. Oh, it's about like, how to say it, consensus, because in Asian you not use voting because you're gonna use consensus and so on. You can elaborate there on how you're gonna tell that. But I really understand it's really hard motion when you're talking about IR. So yeah, I really appreciate when you really try hard as a PM, because it's already it's already nice. And second, I don't see the urgency from your side of the house, because yeah, like again, the debate is not about it is get justify or not, but it's about is gonna be urgent or not, and the third is gonna be beneficial or not. So you guys are not answering that thing. And also yeah, the things like that is small thing, like you say that, oh, we're gonna have the trade with the Singapore, but in the fact Singapore is the one who reject the Timor Leste itself, such kind of things. Like you can improve while you're learning. And also I really have the interest when you're talking about the human right itself, because like for example, when the opposition's gonna say that, okay, we don't want to accept them because they're really poor and so on and so forth. So you have to question the positions. Why then Asian itself accepting Cambodia, for example, or Laos, which is like the very small country as well, their economic is really bad, and also like they don't have that kind of capacity of development, and such as Singapore, Malaysia, or Thailand, for example. But then why then Asian accept them and they ignore Timor Leste for way more than, I don't know, maybe like more than 11 years. They're not accepted. Jadi kayak, oh yeah, I mean like you can improve there and you can question them as well, because like it's really hypocrite when you do such things. And also like for the second speaker, oh yeah, it's already for the second speaker. I'm so sorry, it's not yet from the first speaker, but also like for the second speaker. And I feel like for the second speaker, you have to improve more about like making the big idea of your stances, because like the first speaker already have like the big responsibility to make this kind of stances, make a framing and characterization. So your action as the second speaker should be like giving the big idea, what actually you have to bring different with your first speaker, or even if it is same, you have to elaborate it more. But I feel like your sentence is a bit less. It's more happening like at the very first speaker from the government. So yeah, you have like more time, you have like more more time to case build, and also like more time to speech, because you don't have no obligations to make a setup and so on. So I feel like you can improve more. And what about the negative, I mean like the positions? Yeah, in the positions, I feel like you have to improve the same thing, because I feel like it's still lacking on your stances. I mean like your setup. Then are you agreeing with the opening government or not? If you agree, then you have to prove that basically it's already like good in your side of the house and it's working, it's already progressive in current situation. That is why like Timor Leste don't need to go with them to the member state. Or if not, then if they're addressing the wrong problem, you can addressing the new problem as well, because like proving that basically that's not actually the problem. The actually problem is the economic growth of the Asian country itself. How can a small country gonna affecting such a whole nation's another country when they basically everyone's struggling for the economic itself? So it's about association. So it's not just affecting one country or two country, but the whole country in Southeast Asia. And the moment this country has a collapse, for example, it's also gonna affecting the Timor Leste, and also like another country gonna be having like huge impact. So basically talking about the small thing and large thing, this comparison like this way, it's gonna be better for you to flip it up the what they bring in OG. Yeah, and after that also like the urgency, like for example talking about geographical, but why then it is like very urgent. If I can suggest you, if I like were you, like for example I am being this first and second speaker in the positions, I would like take like a big thing, like for example I will take your economic and also like political stability, and also about your limited resources, and also about they couldn't like really compete, and also like investment. This really like a big idea, and I feel like you're closing positions take advantage why you bring this, because like they already elaborate it more and they are winning, which is like you can elaborate it more with that. So what my suggestion is, you don't have to bring such a lot of things, like 10 things like very important, but just pick like 5 or just 2, but it is like very urgent, and you analyze it very deep, and you analyze it like very huge impact or benefit, and or harm and so on. So basically like that's the thing you have to do in the debate. If you don't know, like basically, oh, I don't know how to elaborate this, I suggest you to ask yourself 3 questions. First one is what, second one is why, third one is how. Like, for example, what then we have to talk in this debate? We're talking about the Timor Leste. Why then you're not bringing Timor Leste? Oh, because they have this capacity and then blah, 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 blah. And how it's going to impactful to the Asian itself, it's going to be harmful. Are you telling that basically what the status quo is really already progressive? Then how it's going to be beneficial for Timor Leste to stay in status quo, not being a member state? So yeah, if you're just wondering how to elaborate and blah blah blah, just asking the three questions: what, why, and how. Keep asking yourself, and you're gonna find the way, you're gonna find the answer. Then that's gonna be good for your argumentation. And for the closing government. Oh yeah, the closing government. I feel like I really appreciate you guys try hard on how you making this stance, which is already great. But like I said, IR is not like love or family and those kind of motion when you can use the analogy and gonna be good. But it's also like very fact. I'm talking about such another level of analysis. So you have to make like a better analogy or better analysis on how you're gonna can make it relate to the motion. Like for example, I already make it an example on you say like, oh, we need them because we're gonna fulfilling the memberships, and yeah, like what I say that just is the necessary because they're gonna have like 11 member and it's gonna be like working as an Asians. So why that is that Timor Leste has that huge impact to the Asian. Why then you think, oh, it's gonna be really impactful toward a lot of things, economic development, politics, and so on, just because one country. And you can imagine Timor Leste is very small. Timor Leste not even like bigger than one of Indonesian's island. Their people are very less, and also like the human resource, natural resources are very 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 lack. So why then you think this country could help, or you think that could boost themselves in the Asian itself? Meanwhile, there's a lot of countries going to be major. For example, like Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, which is like their development and so on are really major. Then how you think it's going to be improving into the Timor Leste and also like to another country as well when they want to join this? And yeah, just it. And oh yeah, I have one note as well. Don't rebut only the small point. Rebuttal is not about you try to engage and just it, but rebuttal is about you already debunk their argumentation or not. So if you think that basically you don't know how to rebut the big thing and you're already noticing the small thing, I think like you guys could be less credit, because it means that your opponent could steal until the end, which means that you really only wasting your time. So what I suggest is write your opponent argumentations and put like, oh, this is the big idea. This is like the most elaborations and great things they already made. This is like very more logic and good analysis. That the thing you have to rebut. Because I already noticed that you already give some rebuttals, but I feel like number one, this is not the big point from your opponents. Number two, even if you rebut it, I don't think like you guys give the good way to the rebut. If I can give you suggestions, there are three things the way to the rebuttal. Number one, if they say A, you're gonna say B. Second one, if they say A, you're gonna say, okay, A is A, but B is gonna be better in the side of the house. So you're gonna proving that basically even if this exists, but your side of the house proven that your side is gonna be way more beneficial, and they also like having the harmful, which is like the beneficial gonna be shadow. And third of all, even if they say okay, A is A, but you're gonna say that even A is not progressive enough, and your side of the house gonna proven that this mechanism or this proposal gonna be way more effective enough. So yeah, this is just a short example. I feel like you guys are really smart to gonna put it into another way. Like you can give your own thing. And also like about the CO, the last one. You really, oh wait a minute. Okay. First of all, I really appreciate CEO when you mention a lot of things, and I really like the way you speak. I really like the way you're making this kind of analysis, multi-layered. It is really nice way to do debate because you're gonna make your sentences gonna be long less, and this is really hard from your opponent gonna rebut you because you're gonna still have the stances, or even if they want to debunk all of it, they're gonna focusing on debunk it. They don't really focusing on your stances. It means like you're already doing good in this. But I think like first thing first, you have to elaborate is answering the why question. For example, you're talking about, oh, they're gonna creating imbalances. The economic risking a lot of countries in Southeast Asia, and also like they when they're just dependent, and also like operation and so on and so forth. But then why and how? Because like for example, you're talking about the imbalances, then how then it's gonna be imbalances? You're not answering this thing. And for example, like oh, it's gonna be like having economic risk. How then this I mean, like, I can understand it as an educator, and I'm learning about this. I can understand why the Timor Leste could be harmful for the Asian country. But as an educator, I couldn't think further because you're not explain this, so I couldn't credit this. So again, yeah, like what the first, I mean, like the opening oppositions always asking then why and how. How that is gonna creating economic risk, and it's gonna be so bad from the Asian country itself. I didn't hear the answer why is that, because yeah, I understand you have limited times. I understand that you're already bringing a lot of things, maybe like just a short things that you have to complete it, because like the moment you complete it, it's gonna be like the holistic argumentation, which is like already good, which is like already good. If you don't have this kind of time, you can reducing your argumentations and put those little things, put it on your third speaker, I mean like your second speaker, because I feel like there are some lacking for the second speaker itself as well. You still have a lot of time, so you could like do more discussions, and you can take the argumentation from your first speaker, which is like gonna be beneficial. And also like for the second speaker, I feel like yeah, the rules are, you already said before that this is your first time debate, which is like already great because you can elaborate more and speak in that confident. It is really nice. So yeah, you just only have to do two things. You have to compare, and you have to make your extensions. You have to compare from the very first speaker, from the opening, and also like for the closing, why then you already debunk all their argument, why then your sentence is gonna be good, and why then your sentence is gonna be worth it, and stay until the last, which means that you're gonna win. So yeah, as simple as that. Oh, maybe that sounds complicated, but all right. Yeah, that's all from me. Do you guys want further questions, or want to like personal feedback from my number? I don't think, because it's already enough, right?
Can we ask about speaker score?
Oh, are you guys needed? I didn't make it.
Okay, no problem.
And fun fact is because like there's currently the issues, because like in each competitions they have different kind of standard, but the new standard is I got from the NUDC from 2023. But yeah, it's like a bit complicated to make the speaking score, so yeah. Maybe next time, like if even like invite me and you say like, hey, please putting the speaking score, maybe I will do.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, just it. Anyone, you guys have a question, or maybe you are like so boring because I speak too much? Done.
Yeah, there's no question for me, and I appreciate that you speak a lot because yeah,
Yes.
it was very
Yes,
I
informative.
many
appreciate
thanks.
the way that you gave us a lot of feedback for us to basically improve on our speech and, of course, our debating skills and knowledge as well.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, my most welcome. It's really nice to meet you guys here too. I mean, like I feel like I when I was a debater, a lot of people help. I'm still a debater, but yeah, I'm just not really. When I was a debater, a lot of people really helped me. So like whenever like one of you texts me like, hey, can you be an educator? I don't think twice, because like I wish I can contribute more to the people as well in the debating. So I'm really happy to see you guys here as well.
oh, thank you, Kak.
Yeah, most welcome. But by the way, what is Tangsel? Tangerang Selatan?
Tangerang Selatan, yeah.
Oh, so all of you from Tangsel are anak Tangerang. I want to use Indonesian, but I thought like you guys are not Indonesians.
I'm not from Tangerang. Sorry. I'm just a stand-in.
I'm also not from Tangerang Selatan.
What about BJMA? BJM.
Oh.
Oh, BJM. What is BJM?
BJM is a Banjarmasin.
Gosh, I thought like you guys, I was in the debate before, and I almost used Indonesian, and then like the participant are like from Thailand also, like they are Indian, Malaysian, because yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, sama-sama orang Indo. Okay. Alright
Yeah,
then.
Tangsel is Indonesia.
Okay. I thought like it's the name of your like team.
Tangsel is
Oh.
Africa.
Bro, what?
Are
Tangsel
you
is
guys are in the
Timor-Leste.
same university?
Me and Brandon is in the same high school.
Wait, are you
High
guys still
school?
high school?
Me and Brandon, yeah. And also
Oh.
Kenzie, but Kenzie is from a different high school.
Yeah, hello.
That was epic.
I'm not graduate, but I feel like when you say like, oh, you're high school, I feel so old. But all right then, there's no more question. All right then, if there's no, I hope you guys gonna have like a good night. This is I mean with that time, so it's like a bit late. It's my sleeping time. So yeah, have a nice debate and see you again tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you, Kak, for your time. Appreciate
Thank
it a
you all.
lot.
Bye. Makasih,
thank you.
Kak.
Bye semuanya. Makasih banyak ya.
Yeah, bye. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Aduh, kumaha
See you
pala
in
What?
the next spar.
Okay, sure. Let me know. I will be pretty much available.